American troops have been hit. That is the line that changes everything about where this conflict stands as of July 18th, 2026. Not Iranian ships being stopped, not Iranian oil tankers being disabled with Hellfire missiles, not bridges being destroyed or radar installations going dark. American service members stationed at bases in Jordan have been seriously wounded by direct Iranian ballistic missile strikes. According to CBS News, citing U.S. officials, Iranian attacks against bases in Jordan, the Muwafaq Salti Air Base and King Faisal Air Base, resulted in the injury of several U.S. service members. As of this filming, no fatalities have been confirmed, and the wounded are almost certainly already being medically evacuated to Ramstein Air Base in Germany, where American military medical infrastructure is equipped to handle exactly this kind of mass casualty situation from a combat theater. But the threshold that has been crossed today is not about the casualty count. It is about the category. Iran has now directly struck American military personnel on a foreign base and produced American casualties. That is a different kind of line than attacking commercial shipping. It is a different kind of line than firing at Gulf partner nation military installations. It is the line that the American public, the American military, and the American political system treat fundamentally differently from every other line that has been crossed in this conflict since it began. The footage from Jordan is real, and it is damning. Video from late on July 17th and into the early morning of July 18th shows ballistic missiles descending on the Jordanian airbase where American forces are stationed. You can see the inbound trails. You can see the direct impacts. Not near misses, direct hits on the base. Multiple impact events in a single operational window. The Iranians were not firing into the general area and hoping for the best. They were targeting the base with sustained, deliberate intent and achieving impacts that have produced American casualties. This is the escalation that makes everything that has followed over the past several days comprehensible as a sequence leading to this outcome. 11 days of American strikes against Iran, hundreds of military targets destroyed, the naval blockade reimposed and enforced, bridges demolished across Hormozgan province, command centers in Tehran struck, the IRGC's coastal surveillance and maritime harassment infrastructure systematically dismantled, and Iran's response across the entire period has been to expand the geographic footprint of its ballistic missile and drone campaign across more countries, more targets, and higher value categories, until the inevitable intersection with American personnel occurred. It has now occurred. Iran bombed Saudi Arabia. That is the other development from overnight that requires explicit acknowledgement because it represents a geographic expansion of this conflict into territory that has been more or less protected from direct Iranian attack for the past several months. Axios's Barak Ravid reported that Iran launched ballistic missiles at a U.S. base in Saudi Arabia, marking the first direct Iranian attack on Saudi territory in nearly 4 months. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Jordan had all been targeted repeatedly. Saudi Arabia had been watching from the margins of the direct attack list even as it participated in the coalition against Iran. That protective margin ended overnight. Saudi Arabia is now directly under Iranian ballistic missile attack. And the question of how Riyadh responds, what its military is authorized to do in retaliation, and whether this accelerates Saudi Arabia's active participation in the strike campaign against Iranian territory, is one of the most consequential unanswered questions of July 18th. Bahrain is under heavy Iranian attack for at least the 5th time in the past 24 hours. Air raid sirens across the island as another wave of Iranian ballistic missiles and drones arrive. Kuwait announcing its armed forces have intercepted multiple Iranian ballistic missiles and drones over Kuwaiti airspace since this morning. According to the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense, the Iranian strikes targeted military, security, civilian oil, electricity, and water infrastructure. The desalination plants are being targeted again. Fires and significant damage confirmed. Several firefighters and oil sector workers injured responding to the attacks. Debris from intercepted missiles and drones causing damage in residential areas. Iran is simultaneously attacking military installations, civilian infrastructure, water supply systems, oil infrastructure, and American military bases. The geographic spread now covers Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and Iraq simultaneously. The category of targets now includes American military personnel, civilian water supplies, civilian oil infrastructure, and residential areas where falling debris from intercepted missiles is injuring civilians. This is not a military organization prosecuting a targeted campaign against military assets. This is an institution in the late stages of strategic desperation, firing everything available, in every direction, at every category of target, within reach, hoping that the accumulated pain of simultaneous attacks across every accessible target set produces a political outcome that its degraded military capability can no longer produce through focused military operations. Ballistic missile launches from north of Abar in Zanjan province were detected overnight. Drone activity in Iraq producing strikes in Erbil province. The IRGC's assault on the region is continuing across multiple provinces and multiple countries simultaneously as American fighter jets are operating inside Iranian airspace, striking targets right now as this is filmed. The American response to U.S. troops being directly wounded has not been a press conference. It has been the continuation and intensification of the strike campaign, with new target categories being added to the list. U.S. Central Command struck surveillance sites, military logistics infrastructure, underground weapon storage facilities, and maritime capabilities overnight. Fighter aircraft, aerial drones, and warships all employed simultaneously. Yazd, known by analysts as Iran's underground missile city, was struck. This is not a coastal facility. This is a deeply buried complex in the Iranian interior, specifically designed to conceal Iran's ballistic missile production and storage infrastructure from exactly the kind of air campaign that has been running for nearly 2 weeks. Yazd being struck means the targeting logic has extended into the heart of Iran's missile industrial base rather than just its deployed coastal weapons. Heavy smoke visible in the footage from the Yazd strikes, the secondary explosions, consistent with underground weapons, storage being opened to the atmosphere by penetrating munitions, multiple blasts in West Azerbaijan province, U.S. strikes extending that far north and west from the Strait area, covering a geographic spread across Iranian territory that reveals how comprehensive the targeting list has become. Hormuz Island struck during American airstrikes. This morning, the 18th, a tunnel in Bandar Abbas destroyed. You can see the bombing damage, the collapsed tunnel entrance, the structure that the IRGC used to conceal its drones, and anti-ship missiles from aerial observation eliminated in a single strike. Another bridge, the Khmer Bridge, completely destroyed. Visible in footage showing the structural collapse that precision munitions produce when they find the load-bearing elements of a bridge span. The IRGC is reporting that 116 telecommunications towers are offline in Bandar Abbas and Geshem, citing the Hormuzgan Communications Department confirmation that landline, mobile, and internet connectivity has been severed across the region. 116 communications towers. That is not collateral damage from strikes on nearby military targets. That is a systematic communications infrastructure campaign that has eliminated the backbone of the IRGC's ability to coordinate military operations in the region, where those operations matter most. Missiles cannot be directed without communications. Drone swarms cannot be coordinated without communications. Fast attack boat operations cannot be coordinated without communications. Cut 116 towers, and you have not just degraded a military capability, you have silenced the command architecture that converts individual IRGC assets into coordinated military operations. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister, Qassem Garibabadi, announced that, effective immediately, Iran is suspending implementation of all further commitments under the Memorandum of Understanding. This announcement is the formal burial of what was already operationally dead. The MOU was violated within days of being signed when the IRGC attacked commercial shipping. It was violated further when Iran declared the strait closed. It was violated further when Iranian ballistic missiles struck American bases and wounded American service members. The Deputy Foreign Minister announcing its suspension is the Iranian government formally acknowledging in diplomatic language what the IRGC's operational behavior has been demonstrating since the agreement was signed. There was never genuine intention to honor it. The IRGC's claims about mine strikes on oil tankers in the Strait deserve specific attention because CENTCOM has directly contradicted those claims. The IRGC stated that 2 oil tankers exploded in the Strait of Hormuz after hitting mines. CENTCOM said that is not true. This is the same pattern of Iranian state claims about operational results that has characterized this entire conflict. The IRGC fires missiles and claims they hit their targets. CENTCOM confirms no damage. The IRGC claims aircraft have been shot down. CENTCOM confirms 0 aircraft losses. The IRGC claims mine strikes destroyed tankers. CENTCOM says that did not happen. The credibility gap between what Iranian state sources claim and what independently verifiable evidence supports has been one of the most consistent features of the information environment around this conflict. The threat from a former IRGC commander and current advisor to the Supreme Leader about Iranian ground troops crossing borders and ground incursions against American positions requires direct engagement. This threat, combined with the separate proposals from Iranian parliamentary figures about kidnapping American troops and holding them as hostages, represents a category of escalation that would produce a response from the American military categorically different in character and scale from anything executed to date. American troops stationed at forward positions in the region are not conventional garrison forces. The units present in Jordan, in Iraq, in Syria, in the Gulf are among the most capable and most heavily equipped in the American military. Special operations forces, rapid reaction elements, forces that have been training for exactly the scenario of direct ground assault on their positions. An IRGC ground unit attempting to cross into a forward American position in the belief that it can overwhelm American defenders and take prisoners does not have an accurate picture of what it would encounter. The outcome of that engagement would not be favorable to the attacking force and would be over very quickly. More importantly, any successful ground action that produced American prisoner soldiers in Iranian custody would trigger the most severe and most sustained American military response of the entire conflict. The precedent for how the American military and American political system respond to the seizure of military personnel is well established and does not suggest a de-escalatory outcome for the side that attempts it. The Iranian advisors proposing this option are either operating with a dangerously distorted picture of the response it would generate, or have moved beyond rational cost-benefit analysis in their decision-making. The broader strategic picture on July 18, 2026, is one of a conflict that has crossed multiple new thresholds in rapid succession and shows no immediate sign of approaching a de-escalatory equilibrium. American troops have been wounded. Saudi Arabia has been struck for the first time in months. The MOU is formally dead. Kuwait's desalination infrastructure is under attack again. Iran is firing simultaneously at Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and Iraq. American jets are operating inside Iranian airspace, striking Yazid's underground missile infrastructure, telecommunications towers, tunnels, bridges, and coastal surveillance positions. The geographic and categorical expansion of this conflict in both directions simultaneously, Iran attacking more countries and more types of targets, America striking deeper into Iranian territory, and more categories of Iranian infrastructure, is the operational signature of a conflict that has moved past the phase where either side believes a near-term negotiated return to the status quo ante is achievable. The IRGC's formal suspension of the MOU removes the last nominal diplomatic framework within which this conflict was theoretically being managed. There is no active ceasefire framework. There's no memorandum of understanding. There's no 60-day pause on anything. There are only operational decisions being made by American military commanders executing the standing orders they have been given, and IRGC commanders making targeting decisions from degraded command positions, while 116 telecommunications towers sit offline in the region they are trying to coordinate operations in. Prayers for the American service members who were wounded in Jordan overnight. Their sacrifice is the most personal dimension of what this conflict has become. They went to Jordan to support operations that exist to keep an international waterway open and to protect the civilian mariners who have been targeted by an organization that considers attacking commercial shipping, a form of providing safe passage. As of July 18, 2026, the situation is this. American troops have been hit. Iran struck Saudi Arabia. The MOU is dead. Yazd is burning. 116 telecom towers are offline in Bandar Abbas. The bridges are down. The tunnels are destroyed. And American fighter jets are still in Iranian airspace right now as this is filmed. The next update will tell us what America does now that its personnel have been directly struck. Whatever that response looks like, it will not be a press conference.